Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to this webinar on executive regulations of VAT organized by C&I Middle East. My name is Mahesh. We at C&I Middle East have been operating in Bahrain, UAE, Oman, and India. We are specialists for VAT implementation across many organizations in all these countries. Without any more delay, I would like to welcome you all to this webinar organized by C&I Middle East. And I hand over the proceeds to CS Sachin Sharma, who is the tax expert, who is also the managing partner of C&I Middle East. I welcome CS Sachin Sharma to conduct this webinar. Over to you, Sachin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining with us in our continuous series of webinars. We are conducting webinars for sectors specifics, basically. And the transactions which we are going to discuss during the session, these are basically the sector specific transactions. Like when we will take you through the whole session, then you will realize, almost everything will be quite familiar to you. Okay, and I hope this webinar will be, as we are intended to, give you the best outcome in the minimum time possible. So let's start. So we are going to start with some kind of a technical session, and we'll try to make it as short as possible, hardly 30-40 minutes maximum. And you can ask any of your queries. You can send us through chat box here, or you can send us an email or WhatsApp. We'll try to respond the queries during the session, and if not answered, then we will try to send you a personalized email. So these are the things which we are going to discuss: a small introduction of VAT, then a specific segment for Oman VAT law, then the sector specific transactions which we are emphasizing a lot. We will discuss the transactions which are exactly pertaining to this hospitality sectors. Then some kind of a small advisory, like some kind of a you can say the takeaways, what you should do, or what all things you need to plan. Then a small Q&A session. So basically, when we talk about the law, or any kind of a legal framework to be implemented, so there are certain things which the viewers need to understand, because what happens, you have lots of, especially in this digital era, you have lots of sources of information, especially the social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so many. But because it's a legal framework, so it becomes very crucial for the industry or the people here in this jurisdiction to get to know the factual information, like some kind of a reliable source of the information. So these are some documents which somehow I can say that the whole structure or some kind of a parent source of information for you. Like all the GCC countries, they have implemented a unified VAT agreement, some kind of a parent book from which all the respective countries, they are somehow borrowing the provisions. They can within the ambit of unified VAT agreement, they are drafting the respective country laws. Then in the same line, the Oman, they have drafted their VAT law, which is the Royal Decree Law number 121 2020. And recently they have issued the executive regulations. I think it was published on 10th of March in the official gazette. Then in VAT, very frequently you will be using reference from the common custom law. And especially for the sector specific transactions, we are expecting to the tax authority to issue various guidelines, sector specific guidelines, because still, although having the law and the decree, the regulations, still there are lots of transactions which need clarification. So, and these kind of clarifications will be published by the tax authority in due course. And in this presentation, I have, closed the link of the official website of the tax authority, where you can go and check the source of information. So basically, this is the timeline for Oman VAT law. The decree order was published on 18th of October, which is having 180 days as the timeline for the actual implementation. So the 16th April, which is hardly a few days to go. And recently in March, they have published the executive regulations. So this 16th of April is a very crucial date, especially basically the entities which are already registered, because in that case, their supplies, even the ongoing transactions, like especially if we talk about the hospitality sector, your transactions, like it will not be a case like all the guests are coming on 16th or all the guests will check out on 15th. Okay, so you have a continuous supply. The guests who are continuously staying, even who is coming on 13th, 14th, 12th, and they are their stay includes pre as well as post VAT scenario. So you have to split these transactions, which is is quite crucial. So you have to just put some kind of a check on this. The guest check out before 16th April, then there is no issue at all. But the guest which entered into this properties, the hotels and all, but the checkout late after 16th of April. So I think that will be you have to figure out the VAT implications. So now I'll give you some brief overview of Oman VAT law and the respective articles. The slide I have specifically highlighted, this is the context of the law, okay, the content which they have mentioned in the law. So what I feel, especially for the hospitality sector, there are two, basically that although the whole law is relevant, but two main points which I find extremely crucial. The one is the taxable value, like on which amount you have to collect VAT from the customer. Because the point is, in hotel industry, you collect the n number of components within the same transaction. Like you collect for the hotel stay, you collect for food, laundry, you collect for airport pickup. Okay, you collect in addition to this, you collect municipality tax, you collect transport, tourism levy. Okay, so then you have to figure out like what will be the taxable value on which you have to collect VAT from your customers, guest. Okay, and then as I stated, the transitional provision, especially the transactions, because it's a continuous supply, so you have to consider it very cautiously, like the transactions which are having the pre and the post VAT scenario. So this is somehow a base structure which I included from a bare understanding, some kind of a basic understanding for the viewers. Like in VAT, what is VAT? What are the common terminologies? So basically, VAT is a consumption-based tax, which is charged at each stage of supply chain. Okay, and then VAT, we have a concept of VAT credit, like you collect and then you deduct the amount which you have already paid to your supplier, and that is subject to certain conditions. In Oman VAT law, they have put up basically the monetary threshold for mandatory registration and the voluntary registration. But as of now, some kind of phase-wise implementation is going on. But however, you still have the option to register as a voluntary taxpayer, depending on your, you have to evaluate your position. And if you find, some kind of impact, okay, in that case, you can take a call whether it's favorable or it's against you to register starting from 16th of April. Then basically in VAT, the component which mentioned, like you need to classify your transactions. That's the main thing, like it's taxable, zero rated, it's export, it's out of scope. Especially in the initial run, this out of scope, it plays a very vital role, because all the supplies which have already been concluded before the implementation date, these will be out of scope. So, but you may be, these transactions, especially in the transition, you may be recording these in the subsequent tax period. Then the documentation is having a very vital role, VAT, because VAT, the major impact which you will realize, okay, it will be basically the documentation. Like earlier, documentation was not very crucial, but after introduction of VAT, like invoice, earlier invoice was just merely a document, but in VAT, invoice is a duty paying document basis on which you have a right to claim credit. Okay, to claim a credit, you need to have a specific requirement, like it must be a VAT compliant tax invoice. So you have to comply those conditions. If you don't comply, in that case you will pay VAT, but you will not be able to claim credit. Okay, so these are certain things which I think some kind of a general terminologies. Then these are certain in continuation of the previous slide, like supply, you need to identify your transaction, supply of goods, supply of services, and the main thing which is generally missed out, that is a deemed supply, because the normal transactions, it is apparently visible, like you are executing a transaction, but deemed supply is some kind of a transaction where you actually actually don't take a transaction, but still it is considered as a transaction and it attracts VAT. And I think this is the major concern area which we have realized while implementing VAT across GCC, like the companies generally missed out. Okay, and compliance will be there. Compliance means like some kind of a regular activity which you have to perform periodically. Like in case of compliance, you have to the documentation part, then reporting to the tax authority. So in that case, in 2021, as of now, this periodicity will be quarterly, but later on, if, what we feel based on the past scenario and the GCC framework, they will segregate it based on some kind of a monetary threshold. Like for the high paying companies, it will be monthly, and then for the small taxpayer, it may be quarterly. And one more crucial aspect, which I feel, and I think the biggest concern area is the tax period. When you are actually, companies are paying tax, that is completely fine. But the point is whether you are paying the tax VAT in the right tax period. Okay, and it will basically generally impact the quarter end transaction in 2021. Later on, it may be monthly. Like for example, any transaction which is happening on 30th of June. Okay, for example, if you have delivered goods on 30th of June, but you are issuing invoice on 1st of July, there's only 2 days impact. Like if you have delivered the goods on 30th of June, so in that case, you have to pay VAT in June, no matter you are issuing invoice in July. Okay, so this is a practical scenario which we realize, like generally companies missed out, because in your accounting, when you do the accounting, you will find you will record this transaction in the subsequent tax period. Okay, and it will reflect in your tax report or in your ledger in the subsequent tax period. However, you are supposed to pay VAT in the earlier tax period. Okay, so basically, as a default rule in VAT, like any transaction, it is primarily called as a supply. Supply includes the supply of goods or supply of services, because it's a negative regime. So any transaction which is not specifically mentioned as zero rated or exempted, it will be subject to tax. So in Oman VAT law, they have specified certain transactions, and which I find somehow relevant for the hospital, the hotel industry. Like somehow they are directly or indirectly they are engaged in some kind of facilitation for transport facility for passengers. Sometimes they provide some kind of especially this airport pick and drop. Sometimes sites facility or other support provided by, which is in the nature of transportation. So what would be the treatment of this transaction? Then, as I mentioned, the local passenger transport, which is in the exempted category, and as it is a rental, because in rental, even in our earlier session, which was for real estate, we highlighted like residential dwelling. The renting is somehow an exempted supply, but whether, and they have put up some kind of a time limitation for continuous supply, like the minimum renting period must be 3 months. Okay. So whether if someone is staying in a hotel for more than 3 months, so whether it will qualify as a supply of the renting of residential property. Okay. So the answer is no, because they have specifically excluded hotels. Even if a long-term stay in a hotel, it will attract VAT. Okay, now coming to the topic, I think in case of hotels and the homestays, we have just tried to figure out the transactions, which you will definitely find out in your books of account in the same language or in the same words. Like, what are the primary source of revenue for hotels? Generally, it is room rental, food and beverages, telephone and internet. Internet is generally free, but telephone, yes, they charge. Laundry charges, valet parking, convention hall, which they sometimes provide for the business meeting or some kind of a personal gatherings. Then sometimes we notice, like in various hotels which we did in the past, they have some in-house shops which they sometimes let out for this spa, sometimes even some kind of saloon. They let out shops, even sometimes for the trading purpose also. And it happens in both ways. Sometimes they let out, sometimes they manage it by themselves. So what will be the treatment for the shops which is within the premises of hotel? Okay, then this pick and drop facility, the transportation. Other levies, like in addition to this, the amount collected for this component, the hotels are obligated to collect this additional taxes imposed by the government, like service charge. Service charge is somehow for the hotels, but yes, municipality tax they collect, the tourist tax they collect. Okay, and it is a very crucial aspect from the valuation perspective. Then there are certain exclusions, the amount which is not supposed to be included while calculating the taxable value. Like if any specific deduction is there, any kind of subsidies received from the government, like if government is sponsoring some, something. So in that case, and that will be specifically, provided some kind of a specific exemption. Any kind of grants received by the government. Okay. In case of insurance claim, like if you are getting any kind of insurance compensation or any kind of damage compensation, so that will also be excluded. That will not attract VAT. One more practical transaction is like generally hotels, they arrange visa for their guests, especially for tourists. Okay, and for this visa, they generally charge the visa amount and their service charge. So whether they are supposed to charge VAT on the whole amount or only service charge. So as of now, the understanding is only the service charge, because visa is somehow a specific task which is just limited to the government only, and that will be based on our understanding, even based on the other GCC countries. What we feel that the base charges for visa will not be subject to tax. Only the additional service charges collected by the hotels for facilitation of visa, that will attract VAT. Then this is, somehow I'll say complete impact on this until unless you, have any specific transaction which is not covered. I feel like, substantial transactions will be covered. And this is somehow a complete compliance impact. Okay. Like what will be the impact on the documentation? Very crucial aspect is like you have to issue a tax invoice. So it has to be a valid tax invoice, which is having all the mandatory information which is prescribed in the tax regulation. It is mentioned there. Then there's a concept of simplified tax invoice. And the simplified tax invoice is very crucial, especially for the hotels, because they are into B2C model. Okay, like they are dealing with the end customer. And in case of end customer, because they are not supposed to claim credit, so there are various information which is not available generally. So to issue a tax invoice, it will be very convenient if you have the option to issue a simplified tax invoice. But the point is again, to issue a simplified tax invoice, you need to seek an approval from the tax authority, and only after getting the approval, you can issue a simplified tax invoice. So it is a mandatory requirement. To providing any kind of discount or any kind of reduction, that's another point. Like you must have some kind of a clear-cut policy. And when we say this statement, like, a policy. So what we recommend, like you must have some kind of a document, a written document, a written policy to justify your positions for offering any kind of discount or reduction, which practically, is not there. Then documentation for claiming VAT input. As we stated, this documentation is a very crucial aspect of VAT. Like you will be paying VAT to all your suppliers who are registered. If you're importing anything, then you will be paying. And there are certain transactions which attract reverse charge. In that case, you actually don't pay, but yes, you record it in books. Even in that case, you need to have a specific documentation to claim credit. Then compliance in terms of the fiscal impact, like you need to find it out, like on which amount, on which value, while billing to your customer, like which all component you are billing to your client, you have to find out on which value you have to collect VAT. As in the earlier slide explained, I give you an example of visa charges. Like visa charges are not subject to tax. Okay, but any additional facilitation fee which is being charged by the hotel, that will be subject to tax. Then VAT treatment for advance. One practical thing which I have seen, like generally this big booking agencies like Agoda, Booking.com, they provide some kind of ad hoc refund. Okay? Like they pay certain amount and then they adjust it later on, subsequently along with their bookings. So what will be the treatment in case of advance when you are getting the bulk advance, whether you are supposed to pay VAT at the time of advance or at the time of actually rendering the service, the guests come in and check out. One more very crucial point I'll tell you, that is regarding the existing advance, which you already have in your books. Okay, and which will be due instantly on the very first day, which is 16th of April. So what will be the treatment for this outstanding advance, which is already there in your books, and you are supposed to adjust it later on? Then some kind of a deposit. In case of deposit, I'll tell you, I think it's a very gray area and it's very crucial. The reason is sometimes you get some kind of how practically hotels work, or they block certain amount on credit card. Okay, although they don't charge, it's blocked in the credit card, but practically it's not charged. It's charged at the time of checkout. Okay, this is one thing. In addition to this, sometimes they have both kind of deposits. Which one is refundable, and sometimes which is adjusted against the supply. Okay. So the issue is like if it is refundable and if you refund it, then it's okay. But if sometimes you adjust this refundable deposit at the time of checkout. So that can attract it definitely will be paying VAT, but the point and the concern area will be like whether you were supposed to pay tax at the time of receipt. For example, if both the transactions are happening in different tax period, like the first one is you are getting some kind of a deposit in first tax period, like in between 16th of April to 30th of June, but you are adjusting this amount in subsequent tax period. So whether you were supposed to pay VAT in the first tax period or in the subsequent tax period, this is a big concern in case of refundable deposit if you adjust it later on. Then again, this is because I have worked with various hotels. So I know generally hotels is I think this industry, they provide in-house food to their staff. Almost in, I think I have seen it in various big, almost in every hotel, like they provide food to their staff that's somehow in-house in their canteen. It's for from the same canteen they serve it to the guest, and then the staff has an option, they go and they dine in. So in that case, what will be the VAT treatment? How you are going to do it? How you are going to adjust your VAT input? Because this transaction, it's having, it depends on how you treat this transaction. Okay. And based on the treatment selected by the company, the VAT implication will be there. So then lastly, I feel like some other transactions which are having a very extreme impact in terms of, I'll say that it's having a huge impact. Generally, various hotels which are operating worldwide, they are some part of some big chain. Okay, they are having some kind of a royalty agreement, like Radisson, Ritz-Carlton, or so, and they have a parent body. Generally, I think substantial hotels, they are operated from France. So, and every entity or every hotel, they are paying some kind of a royalty, or sometimes they change the nature and they call it the management fees. So whether on this amount you are supposed to pay VAT. Okay. However, as in the earlier slide, I explained you like there are certain transactions which attract the VAT and the reverse charge. In case of service, when it attracts reverse charge, so in that case you are not supposed to pay. Okay, but the best part is there will be no cash flow impact, but you have to record it in your books of accounts. And this recording is very crucial, because if you don't record it properly, so in that case you shall be required to pay. Okay, and you will not be able to claim credit. So the same thing applies with other service providers. Generally, the IT services, these are being taken by the offshore supplier that you have to take care of. Then the free of cost supply. Sometimes you offer some kind of promotional scheme, free stay for 1 night, 2 night, and sometimes it's associated with any other transaction. As a part of any other supply, you offer some kind of a free stay. So what will be the treatment of this kind of free supply? So regarding this, in the regulation, they have specified a specific article which states, like they have put some kind of a monetary threshold, which is 50 Riyal per person per year, subject to a maximum limit of 1,000 Riyal. So it means in a whole year, you cannot have free supply more than 1,000 Riyal in totality. And for a particular customer, it cannot be more than 50 Riyal. Then the treatment of this single or multi-purpose voucher. This is again very, because generally hotels are part of various promotional scheme, and the associated transactions which are part of some package and all. In that case, they have this this voucher treatment. So how this vouchers and in this case, both the single purpose voucher and this multi-purpose voucher, they have a different tax treatment. So you have to take care of it, and because in that case the main difference is the timing. Like single purpose voucher is taxable at a different date of supply, whereas multi-purpose voucher has a different date of supply. Okay, so without taking much of your time, I think we have discussed these things. Now I'll take you with what you must do as of now. Like you just try to put this 15th of April as a cutoff date in your system. Okay, and then segregate all your supplies, especially for your guest. All the supply which are 15th April, and then the supply taking place after 15th of April. So what I'll recommend you just have some kind of a default checkout in your system for all guests. I think it may be really helpful for you. Okay, and then although in terms of compliance, yes, there will be some additional burden for issuing the dual invoices for the same customer. But anyhow, you have to do it. Then in hotel industry, the other point is like they have different software. Front office, they have a different software, and for the accounting, they have a different. For internal accounting, they have a different software. And what they generally do, like on a daily basis, they took some kind of reports from this front office system, and then they create some kind of input, and then they include it in their accounting system. So it is advisable, like if you have some good ERP and if you can integrate these two systems instead of going this manual, report pulling and executing a transaction. So I think that will be, but I think in few hotels we have seen they have somehow some kind of integration is there. So it depends on which ERP do you have. So one more point I always recommend for every company, and I think this is the main focus area which I emphasize a lot, like you need to train your staff. Okay, you need to train your employees, especially the people who are executing the transaction. Okay, because the people who are recording the transaction, I'll tell you practically what happens, be it any consulting company, be it anyone, they will be taking, they'll be taking the data from the system. They will ask you to share this data and that, this report and this and that. And how you are supposed to do it, you will, pull down the reports from the system and will send it to your consultant. But the major problem is like until or unless your input is correct, okay, no matter whosoever is your consultant, because there's some kind of a concept of garbage in, garbage out. If you are providing the wrong data, so definitely the outcome will be the wrong. So please make it sure the input, the transactions which are recording, at the time of recording the transaction, the people who are recording the transaction, they must provide the right information. Okay, provide in the right context, so that the outcome which is coming, that somehow at least there should be some kind of right classification should be there. The proper recording of documentation must be there. Like you have proper description of supply of goods, so that to figure out the credit eligibility, at least your consultant has the nature of transaction. So in that case, they will be able to find out, on which supply we can take credit or which is inadmissible. So this point I strongly recommend, like you are this is absolutely different from the earlier scenario. Earlier you can mention anything. The description of supply was not a material aspect, but in VAT, description of supply is extremely crucial. Okay, based on this description, the consultant is going to take a call for the treatment. Okay, so as I stated here, this open issue, like this treatment of advances which are already there in your books, and I think as of now, even we are coordinating with few of our the colleagues who are working in different organizations. As of now, everyone is trying to figure out some sort of the solution for this advances which are already there in your books. And people have as of now difference of opinion, and we all are trying to go with a conservative approach. So as of now, if you'll ask us, the stand is that we are considering it as a taxable in the first tax period. And let's see how, if we get any clarification, so we'll update you in due course. Then yes, now you don't have enough time. It's already today is the 8th. We have just hardly 7 days to go, and then VAT will be there. And especially the companies which are into B2C model, for them it's extremely crucial. Like you make your system, ready. It must be accurate. So I think slide. Okay, so anyways, I think it's done from our side. If you have certain questions for, okay, someone is asking for the application for how to get approval from tax authority for issuing a simplified tax invoice. So this as of now, there is no specific format, but yes, you have to draft some kind of application, and then we'll try to reach out to the tax authority. Let's see. I think as of now in the system, it's not available, but if they come up with some kind of forms, okay, so it can be done through the system, or as of now, it can be done or directly to the tax authority. So anyways, I think that's all. Otherwise, general queries are there. It's okay. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining with us. And if you have any queries, you can still write it down. You can send us through WhatsApp or email, and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you.